There's something wrong with one of these images. Can you tell which one? It's a trick question. All of these images are wrong. These images aren't real, and they never were, yet many of us have striking memories of these images exactly as they appear here. Memories that are apparently false. So what's the deal with the Mandela effect? Are we really remembering things from another world? Or are we living in a split timeline? Are we victims of some kind of massive memory erasing conspiracy? I don't know. It seems pretty far-fetched. I guess we're just gonna have to accept that the human mind is messy, and that we're really prone to remembering things that never existed.
He's already coming into power.
It's only a dream.
Wake up.
Today we're going to talk about the Mandela effect. The Mandela effect represents a phenomenon where collective memory diverges significantly from documented historical events or facts. The Mandela effect, a coin termed by Fiona Broome, encapsulates a phenomenon where the significant number of people remember an event or detail differently from how it's recorded in the history of reality. It's an important example of the possibility that we have all come from different realities, different dimensions. This divergence prompts a fascinating discourse on the nature of memory, the construction of reality, and the mysteries of human cognition. The Mandela effect has evolved into a broader exploration of shared false memories, encompassing a variety of instances where public recollection does not align with the factual record. This episode delves into the complexities of the Mandela effect, aiming to provide an examination of its manifestations and origins and theories as to why it's happening. Are these just flaws in memories? Or is this an example of parallel realities? As I said, Mandela effect, the term, was coined by Fiona Broome, a paranormal researcher, in 2009. Now this date is important because some people try to state that the Mandela effect is entirely a result of 2012. Broome discovered that she, along with other people, had falsely remembered Nelson Mandela, the former president of South Africa, dying in prison during the 80s. In reality, he was released from prison in 1990, continued his activism, served as president of South Africa from 94 to 99, and passed away in 2013. She was struck by the fact that many individuals shared this specific false memory, despite its inaccuracy. Intrigued by the widespread nature of this shared incorrect memory, she began to investigate the phenomenon further. Broome created a website dedicated to the Mandela effect where she and others documented and discussed various instances of collective false memories. The site became a platform for people from around the world to share their experiences of remembering events, facts, or details differently from the recorded or widely accepted versions. The Mandela effect has since become a popular subject of discussion, particularly on the internet, where communities have formed to explore and catalog various instances of this phenomenon. These range from misquotations and misconceptions about historical events to differences in product logos and changes in pop culture references. The story behind the Mandela effect's origin highlights a fascinating aspect of human memory and its fallibility. It raises questions about the reliability of collective memory and how shared false memories can form. But it also raises the question of the possibility of parallel realities and the memory of alternate realities. I am personally fascinated by this subject because I experience what is similar to a Mandela effect all the time. I remember movies differently. I remember sporting events differently. I remember actors differently. In fact, after I had a near-death experience, everything around me was different. I was watching movies and they were completely different. I was listening to songs that were completely different. I saw pieces of art that had clear changes from what I had seen before. In fact, I'd seen this so much that I thought I had gone through some sort of psychotic episode. But I found it most interesting that this was a collective experience and that many people were experiencing some of these shifts. I know that in my groups, people are constantly sharing different memories. One of the things I'm seeing all the time is somebody dies. Some actor dies on a given day. And I'll be like, that actor died like 20 years ago, or that actor died 15 years ago. This is happening so often that I have definitely questioned whether or not there's a problem with my memory, and have come to the conclusion that I am experiencing alternate realities on a regular basis. And I have found that people who experience the Mandela effect tend to be people that are trying to do reality shifts and manifestations, because the nature of that is shifting them into different timelines in which different things are happening. Now, scientists just argue that it is a phenomenon of false memory. My argument is that is not the truth, but I will go over the different theories about memory and let you decide as to the truth of this phenomenon. The Mandela effect encompasses a wide range of instances, not just one or two things, from historical events to details in movies, logos, and quotes. Some of the most cited examples include the Berenstain Bears versus the Berenstein Bears. A significant number of people recall the popular children's book series as the Berenstain Bears, whereas it has always been spelled Berenstein Bears. I find that crazy. I never remember it being spelled like that. I very much remember that it was spelled Stein. Does this indicate I come from that timeline, or I'm misremembering? Another is the location of New Zealand. Many remember New Zealand being northeast of Australia instead of its actual southeast position. Another is the iconic line from the Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, often misquoted as "Luke, I am your father," when the actual line is "No, I am your father." I heard "Luke, I am your father." There was no doubt that I heard that. Another is the Monopoly Man's monocle. Many recall the Monopoly mascot wearing a monocle, though he does not, for me. These examples demonstrate the Mandela effect's reach, affecting not just obscure details, but elements of popular culture and common knowledge. There are so many other examples. Another fascinating one is the position of Sri Lanka. Some people recall Sri Lanka being directly south of India rather than southeast as it is geographically located. Another fascinating one for me is the location of the heart. And some people remember being taught that the heart is located in the left side of the chest, when in reality it is centrally located, slightly tilted to the left. The Silence of the Lambs. A common misquote is Hannibal Lecter saying, "Hello, Clarice." When he first meets Clarice Starling, the actual line is "Good morning." I can't really do an episode on the Mandela effect without discussing the Sinbad movie from the 1990s. A significant number of people remember seeing a movie starring the comedian Sinbad as a genie called Shazam in the 90s, which does not exist. The confusion might stem from the movie Kazam with Shaquille O'Neal, but I remember this movie in particular with Sinbad in it. Many people recall Rodin's The Thinker statue with a clenched fist to the forehead. However, the statue actually depicts the thinker with his hand under his chin. One of the craziest is Ed McMahon, who was the co-host of The Tonight Show. He was always talking about Publishers Clearinghouse, but he was actually never a spokesperson for Publishers Clearinghouse. And it's because the sheer number of these and the vivid reality of remembering these events is what is so profound for me. Now, there is no doubt that the process of memory formation and recall is a complex interplay of neurological activities that allow humans to store, retain, and retrieve information. This process can be broadly divided into three stages: encoding, storage, and retrieval. Encoding is the initial learning or experiencing of information. Sensory information is transformed into a form that can be processed and stored in the brain. Then there is storage, which refers to the preservation of information over time. This stage involves the consolidation of information, where the brain organizes and restructures memories for long-term storage. And then there's retrieval, and that's the process of accessing and bringing into consciousness the information stored in memory. This stage can be influenced by various factors, including cues in the environment, emotional states, and the context in which the memory was formed. Memories are stored in different parts of the brain depending on their type. Procedural memories, such as how to ride a bike, are stored in a different area than declarative memories, such as facts or events. The hippocampus plays a critical role in the formation of new declarative memories, while the amygdala is involved in emotional memories. False memories are recollections of events or details that did not occur or differ significantly from the way they happened. Several psychological mechanisms can explain the formation of false memories. The misinformation effect. This occurs when post-event information influences the memory of the original event. The introduction of misleading information can modify a person's memory, leading to false recollections. Source monitoring errors happen when individuals fail to distinguish between actual experiences and their imagination, or when they cannot remember the source of a particular memory. And this can lead to confusion between what was seen, heard, or imagined. Confabulation also exists. This is where the brain fills in gaps in memory with fabricated facts and details, often without the person realizing it. Confabulation is more common in people with certain types of brain injuries or disorders, but can occur in anyone. People can be influenced by suggestions or leading questions, which may lead them to recall events differently or remember things that didn't happen. Societal and cultural contexts play a significant role in shaping our memories. Cultural schemas, social contagion of memory, media influence, or portrayal of events can all play a role in changing the way we remember things. So it's a very real possibility that this is just a matter of false memory. I am not saying it's not true, but in my own personal case, with the number of experiences I've had, this is not a false memory situation. The experiences that I've had and the memories that I've had are so profoundly different from what is real on an interpersonal level with my own experience. It is not just a minor change in a spelling of a word or a quote in a movie. So the real possibility is that parallel realities or simulations or alternate dimensions may be a better explanation of some of these Mandela effects. The concept of parallel realities or parallel universes or alternate dimensions posits the existence of multiple, simultaneous realities that run parallel to our own. This idea has been a staple of science fiction for decades, but has also found a place in theoretical physics. Parallel realities suggest that for every decision made, event occurred, or action taken, there exists another universe where a different decision was made, a different event occurred, or a different action was taken. Quantum mechanics, the branch of physics that studies the behavior of particles at the smallest scales, introduces principles that challenge our classic understanding of reality. One of the most startling implications arising from quantum mechanics is the concept of superposition, where particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously until observed. This principle leads to the theoretical underpinning of parallel realities in the form of the multiverse theory. Multiverse theory suggests that our universe is just one of an infinite number of universes that exist in a vast multiverse. These universes may vary slightly from ours to be radically different. The theory is supported by various interpretations of quantum mechanics, including the many worlds interpretation, which posits that all possible outcomes of quantum measurement indeed occur, each in its own distinct universe. The Mandela effect, with its myriad examples of collective false memories, could potentially be explained within the framework of parallel realities. If we entertain the possibility that individuals might somehow tap into memories from parallel universes, or that our universe has interacted with others in the multiverse, the Mandela effect could be seen as evidence of such interactions. One theory is that small groups of people have memories that are consistent with the way events unfolded in a parallel universe, suggesting that their consciousness or memory might have slipped between realities. This could account for the vivid and detailed recollection of events or facts that contradict our documented history. Another hypothesis involves the idea of universes merging, where two or more parallel universes converge or share information in some way, leading to a blending or confusion of memories among the population. This could explain why large groups of people remember historical events, product names, or cultural references differently than they are recorded. One thing that I find interesting is the Neville Goddard concept of the afterlife, that you die and you're reborn in your body at 20 years old. But maybe there is a faint glimmer of a memory that you had from your past life in another universe, and in the new universe it's slightly different. This has been my theory in some cases. I've questioned, as I did in an episode called Are We Dead?, about the possibility that I died and I entered into another world that had merged parallel universes. Maybe this particular universe that we're sharing is shared by multiple people from different parallel realities, and we're allowed to continue living within this reality in a process of understanding our own selves in terms of our own spiritual awakening and realizing our true self as gods. One interesting phenomenon that's related to this is the 2012 effect. Metaphysical theories offer a different lens through which to view the connections between the Mandela effect and the events of 2012, suggesting that a shift in human consciousness and dimensional reality occurred around this time. Proponents of this view argue that December 21st, 2012 marked a significant energetic shift that facilitated a closer alignment or merging of parallel realities. This alignment could account for the increased prevalence of Mandela effect instances since that time, as collective consciousness began navigating and integrating these subtly different realities. Perhaps all along, up until around 2008 or 9, there was a couple realities and then they merged and suddenly everybody had different memories. While empirical evidence supporting a direct link between the 2012 phenomena and an increase in Mandela effect instances is largely anecdotal, there is a notable pattern in reported experiences that align with the timeline of the 2012 predictions. Social media and internet forums have provided platforms for individuals to share and document their experiences of reality discrepancies, leading to a more organized collection of Mandela effect instances. Prior to 2012, Mandela effect instances were predominantly shared within niche forums and communities. These reports often revolved around changes in product names or logos and lines from movies or TV shows. The documentation and discussion of these instances were limited, and a small audience engaged in these conversations. But after 2012, there was a significant and noticeable increase in the diversity and complexity of Mandela effect reports. This has been found with multiple studies and research. Instances expanded beyond simple misrememberings to include larger, more complex changes in historical events, geographical locations, and even discrepancies in personal memories that suggested alternate historical timelines. The spread of these instances also widened, reaching a more global audience across different cultures and demographics. The increasing complexity and diversity of Mandela effect instances suggest that these phenomena may not solely be attributable to misremembering or misinformation, but could hint at the existence of parallel realities or the intersection thereof with our own. Another theory about this is that we are in a simulation, and this theory proposes that the universe and human consciousness are part of an advanced simulation. Mandela effect instances are explained as glitches or updates in the simulation akin to software bugs or changes in a virtual environment. Dolores Cannon, in her discussion of the New Earth, as well as Ra in its channeling on the Law of One, discussed 2012 as a time in which a new Earth would exist. Dolores Cannon explained that literally two Earths are formed during this time. There will even be a time when we're aware of it, and that we're constantly moving back and forth between these Earths. And so what's happening is slowly by choice, one choice after another, we're moving from one Earth to the other. Maybe it's a difference between service to self, service to others, positive, negative, loving, hateful. These differences are wrapped up in a variety of different topics and ideas. But this is something that I feel on a personal level, on a daily basis. Every day, every choice, every breath leads me on one particular path. And while I see other people, slowly they become more and more invisible and exist within an entirely different world. Both worlds seem to be interacting, but more and more my theory is that eventually these earths will split apart. And one will be on one side and one on another. And we're seeing the interplay of these realities now with the Mandela effect. Fourth density is forming and third density remains. And right now we're in this really amazing period when third and fourth density coexist. And every choice you make, every moment that you find love leads you on that path towards fourth density. And that reality becomes more tangible and real. And every angry or hateful thing that you do or selfish thing that you do leads you on the path back to the third density. And you start to see that reality as more real. And I have found that when I experience each of the realities, they are different. One is brighter, the colors are different, the foods taste better. In another, it's darker. And the vibe is different. Even the weather is different. And on a regular basis, I've begun to step outside of my own individuated consciousness and look around me at the environment that I'm in. And many days I can tell, hey, I'm sort of in that fourth density environment. When I'm talking to people in coaching sessions, they're having the same experiences. They have these really blissful, elated experiences, and the world around them changes. This is discussed in reality transurfing, and it's just a theory. Obviously, it's not something that we can ultimately prove, but it does feel as if this is a very legitimate and real consequence of our growing shift in the world. The Mandela effect could be the result of misremembering, but I believe the large number of experiences that people are reporting indicate that there is a trend, that something more is happening. That this is not just a misremembering, that this is actual proof that we're shifting into a new earth environment. And it just depends on which earth that you're in. There is no fiction, and our imaginations are constantly creating realities. And we're working on revising our realities all the time. And so sometimes what may be happening is somebody's revised their reality, and this has literally changed history, and we're experiencing someone else's revised reality. People are becoming expanded in their own imagination. They're revising realities, and they're creating new realities. And in the process, if it's a simulation, if it's something else, it does not matter. But the nature of the universe and its changing patterns and its constant adjusting process is an example of this new earth process that you're existing within. So the clear choice is, which reality do you prefer to choose in? It doesn't matter how a song sounds or a logo looks like or a movie. It matters about the nature of it and the love that you find in it. And as long as you make loving choices, choosing a positive atmosphere and moving into yourself and realizing your own divinity, the reality that you will exist within will be quite different than the reality that many others exist within. And they may be remembering things differently, and that is just a result of this shifting atmosphere that we exist within.
This has been a Pinguinati production. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, links are in the description.